What if you smashed together the deep sea and steampunk? Welcome to Brinepunk, the unique style of Abyssus, a fast-paced roguelike FPS that's flying under the radar. You'll dive deep as a brine hunter, armed with electrified weapons like the Tesla gun and devastating tools like the plasma launcher to survive the ocean's deadliest creatures. In this video, I'm breaking down why this indie gem deserves your attention, and why it's one of 2025's best-kept secrets. So what is Abyssus? Well, it's a world powered by brine, a rare and powerful substance that's only found in the deepest fathoms of the sea, where you and up to 3 of your other deep-sea diving buddies in online co-op are Brinepunk explorers recruited to claim this massive deposit located beneath the ruins of an ancient civilization. However, your mission goes wildly astray and becomes a frantic battle for survival when the sunken kingdom's corrupted creatures rise up against you. How will you survive? Well, by gearing up with brine-powered weapons, of course. I'm a sucker for crazy unique weapons, and this game definitely has them. This game is all about the guns. From machine guns with exhaust pipes, to shotguns with a shell chamber that looks like a mini coal boiler, to Tesla guns that blast lightning arcs, to plasma launchers that spit out energy orbs, to one gun that's actually alive and may just want to eat you as a snack. There's a little something in here for everyone. If you've already played the game, what's your favorite gun? If you haven't, what's the one that looks fun to you? There are 9 total weapons and 6 abilities, which are your throwables like grenades, spears, and other unique items that you can equip at the workbench before you dive in. Plus, you can enhance your firepower even further with elemental and mystic effects, and modify how they operate even more in each run. There's a massive amount of variations that you can build out your loadout, and there's not just one meta build, so you can play it with anyone you want and still find a deadly combination. My personal favorites were the Tesla gun and the plasma launcher. The plasma launcher almost gave me that feeling again of my favorite gun of all time, the Bullseye from the Resistance games from the PS3 era. For those of you that don't know it, the Bullseye is an alien battle rifle that had a high rate of fire. With a secondary fire, you could tag an enemy, and the rest of your ammo would follow the tagged enemy like homing missiles. The plasma gun has a variation with a high fire rate, and a variation where you can tag enemies and shoot homing ammo. I just wish they combined them together. Then I would have been in nostalgia heaven. The one minor gripe I did have about the weapons is that they didn't have a super meaty feedback and weight to them. At least not quite as much as a game like Witchfire, where you feel every bullet shot. But this is only a minor complaint. Because the guns are so fun to play with, you completely forget about it. So the weapons are fantastic. But is the movement? Looking at your character and your wardrobe, and you see these heavy deep-sea diving suits, so you'd think you'd be just lumbering around as slowly as a clumsy oaf trying to walk through drying concrete, but it's actually pretty surprising. Even though there's no sprint, which threw me off at first, the movement is extremely fast-paced, because the areas are very compact and you have a quick dash you can use to dodge enemy attacks, along with the double jump for even more control as you dodge through the air. The movement has a slightly different feel to it than a more weighty first-person shooter. A little bit like sliding on ice, but once you adjust to it, it feels like it fits the game perfectly. So you have cool weapons and fast-paced action, but what does the gameplay loop like? The gameplay loop will take you through multiple biomes, facing off against a number of melee and ranged enemies, and clearing out each area. Some of the areas will also have some mini objectives, such as charging beacons or destroying crystal pylons to prevent endless enemy respawns. You'll find merchants, chests, and other goodies along the way, constantly boosting your loadout with the Roguelite progression system during each run, known as blessings, which are found at the end of the areas. You'll also face quite a few bosses with unique mechanics. You'll go deeper and deeper into the abyss to see if you can make it all the way to the end. Once you die, you'll find yourself back at your home camp, ready to power up the soul wheel with any soul fragments you've gained during your previous run, then jump right back in for another try to see if you can make it even farther. Once you do make it to the end by finishing an expedition, you're rewarded with a brine canister to add modifiers to make the next run even harder. While you're feeling all high and mighty, you dive back into the bloody deep again and watch as the enemy bitch slaps you back to the beginning. Time to upgrade. Outside of combat, there really aren't weapon upgrades per se, but there are mods that affect how the weapon functions, which can drastically improve your runs if the mods you choose better fit your playstyle. These mods are ancient technologies found in the Abyss, so you will start with one primary mod and one secondary mod, and have to unlock the other two by completing specific in-game activities during your runs. Some modifications to the guns are slight changes, whereas others make the weapon feel completely different to play. Take the Tesla gun for example. The starting primary mod is a continuous electrical beam. The second one is the charge beam, which is also a continuous beam of lightning, but it overloads the target when hitting their weak point. This is a slight alteration to how the gun functions from the starting primary mod, but the last mod, the unstable coil locks onto nearby enemies, but unlike the other two, you have to be really close to the enemy to hit them. So it's more like an electric shotgun than the long-range version, which acts more like an electric rifle. Soul Wheel is the permanent roguelite progression in the game that carries over upgrades to your character for all your runs by popping soul fragments into it. It's a tiered system where you have to unlock a specific amount of upgrades before the next tier is upgraded, working your way all the way up to the tippy top. The more you upgrade it, the more souls it wants. It's a mixture of passive upgrades and having additional things show up in your runs to help you further. Whether it's a healing shrine that restores your health to full and gives you back healing syringes, an ancient forge that gives you options to upgrade your weapon or ability, a wishing well where you can offer gold for a potential gift, like a lottery trying to win the jackpot, or a sacrifice altar, which is the same, but you offer up your health instead. Getting common, rare, or legendary random charms to show up in certain areas, additional merchant upgrades, and many other things. Then you have your in-run upgrades. At the beginning of the game, you start with only a blessing altar, which provides major blessings to your primary mod, secondary mod, and ability in the form of elemental damage like wind, fire, ice, and lightning, or mystic effects like shadow, which is essentially critical hit rate, and gold burst, which is damage scaling based on how much gold you have. That's my personal favorite. Once the major blessings have been chosen, you can choose to further increase your stats on the major blessings, or select minor blessings which give you various modifications and upgrades to the major blessings. Once you unlock more of the upgrades from the Soul Wheel that I mentioned above, then you'll be able to upgrade weapons, abilities, and stats even further to become more of a powerhouse. To get the upgrades from the Soul Wheel, you'll have to retrieve soul fragments from chests, defeating bosses, and with some upgrades, a chance to drop from enemies, or random loot golems that'll show up that you can kill for rewards. As you get more powerful, the game's going to get a lot easier. So to make sure that difficulty stays ramped up, you have the option to add a bunch of modifiers to each run by using brine canisters at the deep water tank to increase the deep water level. You get one brine canister for every run that you complete. While some of the modifiers just increase enemy difficulty with more health and more damage dealing, or increase the difficulty of things for your character like less health or taking more damage, there's actually some really unique modifiers that will augment enemies, randomize the order of the areas you go through, and even enhance bosses with new abilities to continue to make each run feel fresh. Just make sure you're ready to take on the competition before you smash the descend button to take the diving bell down to the briny deep, because that difficulty really ramps up the more you modify the runs. There are 4 completely different biomes that you'll explore during your expedition in the game. The Abandoned Temple, the Gardens, the Sanctuary, and the Royal Abyss. All these have a common theme of an ancient civilization that inhabits them, but there are stark contrasts between them, providing a variety of different scenes to take in. I'm only going to show you a couple environments in depth, so I don't show any major spoilers. The Abandoned Temple has old, worn-down ancient temples with orange amber lights, damp caverns with pools of water, stalactites, stalagmites, rock, and ancient pottery. There are these ornate gold statues, doors, and wall fixings that look like robot gods, which makes sense because you actually face off against ancient robotic enemies. The gardens are more colorful, with what looks like a massive enclosed greenhouse with ancient temples, big torches, stone walkways, lush gardens of flowers and bushes, vines, and massive trees and tree roots spread across the ground, lily pad covered ponds, and waterfalls. There are also these bulbous glowing tree fruit, and you fight against these psychotic tribal looking frog people with spears, knives, chain hooks, tribal staffs, and kamikaze exploding poisonous frogs. There's also these wind plates you can use for more movement. The Sanctuary has turquoise rivers and waterfalls that are quite deadly, purple and blue glowing lanterns, tombs, bones, and skeletons everywhere, these weird sculptures, orange glowing globs of decay and mushrooms, wall paintings, and a weird gray fog above your head. This biome has wind plates too, but also wind ramp jumps to make it even more interesting. You'll fight these demonic looking creatures like floating skulls, beasts, orb-powered creatures, and even flying sorcerers. The final area is the Royal Abyss, with white and red ruins, ancient Aztec-looking pyramids, and it looks like the area is being torn between space and time. The deeper you delve into the Abyss, the more grotesque and more decayed it becomes. This game definitely gives me some serious BioShock vibes for the environment. Like at any moment, a Big Daddy could come smashing onto the scene. Wouldn't that be awesome? If there was a BioShock crossover where you could fight against one as a boss? There are 14 different depths of the deep sea you'll need to venture through in order to complete an expedition. So good luck, Brian Hunter. Besides one random crash that I had, now I was able to get right back into the game. I didn't encounter any game-breaking bugs. There were a few minor glitches where I would occasionally get stuck for a brief moment if I dashed into a corner or accidentally jumped into an area where you weren't meant to go, but it really didn't affect my runs at all. Then for some odd reason, some of the journal entries that you could click on were blurry and hard to read, whereas most of them were clearly legible. A couple other things I just wanted to quickly mention. While this game wasn't designed for controllers, I can confirm that it worked quite flawlessly using an Xbox controller playing it on my PC. The other thing I wanted to mention is that this game has online co-op where you can invite your friends to play or matchmake with randoms online, but it doesn't currently have any local split screen couch co-op. I played mostly single player, but I did have a pretty good time playing in multiplayer when I tried it out. The full 1.0 version of the game released back in August 2025, but the developers did recently just release update 1.2 known as Brine Frost on January 12th of this year. This update brought a new weapon, a new ability, new boss attack pattern variations, which is actually quite nice to really vary up the runs, new challenges, and new cosmetic rewards, along with some balance improvements, bug fixes, and quality of life updates. So now is the best time to dive in and play. So go ahead and join me, Brine Hunters. If you're looking for another amazing FPS that has similar qualities as this one, why don't you check out my review for Witchfire. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.